it certainly looks like two different adhesives on here the way it's sitting. But it didn't dissolve easily with the alcohol or anything else that I tried on it really. So I'm just going to have to scrape this adhesive off the body if I want to see the back of it. And really I just want the loose stuff off in the main, and any lumps and bumps so that the leatherettes will sit down nice and flat. There's a bit of rust on that back door there. Yeah, where the adhesive's coming off, it just comes off quite readily. It hasn't got much of a grip on that metal at all. There's a lump there, I'm not sure what that is. It's a oh, it's the metal itself. It's quite brittle, it fractures away quite easily when I scrape over it. Here I'm just using the back of the scalpel blade. That hinge is certainly chromed brass, I would say. I would say that the camera has not always been stored in a dry place. Judging by the little bit of corrosion around the place. However, people can't be on top of their game all the time, can they? And the camera's been lying around for the past, what's that, 70 years? I think that'll do. Let me see about gluing these leatherettes back on. So I'm going to wipe that body down. Let's bring in a bit closer here. You're sliding off the picture. I'll wipe that down with a bit of naphtha just to make sure I've got any oils and so forth are gone and not causing me problems. And lift off any loose dust or other particles. And that was our plain piece of leatherette, this one here. Yes, that's a little bit fragile looking. And apply some adhesive. The adhesive I'm using is just ADOS F2 as usual, and as usual wherever you happen to live, unless it's New Zealand, no, you can't get any. And no, I don't know what potion that you can get is the equivalent. Well, as you might have gathered, there was a bit of a problem here with files on the video camera. Basically it told me it was a corrupt memory card or something and it wouldn't go. I was able to recover some of those files, but we missed a little bit. You can see I've got the Leatherettes glued back on the front of the camera. That's gone quite successfully. I haven't done anything about the door yet. I'll need to get that sorted out. But I can turn my attention to the bottom of the camera there. This half, of course, is the door. So I'll get that open so I've got a nice flat surface to work on there. And it'll allow me to glue this leatherette back down. The leatherettes are not exactly pretty condition, but they're infinitely better than bare metal. So I will work on that next. I'll clean this leatherette off and glue it back in place. So first I'm just going to scrape the back of that to remove any crusty lumps of adhesive. Got to be very careful at this end. This is the end that was folded over. This leatherette was actually wrapped round back inside the camera back there and could not be seen. I'll wipe down that door, and here I'm just using a bit of naphtha just to make sure I'm removing anything loose. I'm not expecting that to dissolve anything, just remove any dust and any oils or grease on the surface. And now I need to glue this down. Here I will transfer my adhesive from a piece of paper to the leatherette on a toothpick so that I'm not splopping great blobs of it all around on this leatherette. I don't want it going on the other surface if I can avoid it. The leatherette here, of course, has been folded over so that it has great enthusiasm for folding over again. Once it's glued back in place, it should be fine. It's not exceptionally robust, so it should stay stuck flat. That will do nicely. A bit more adhesive there than I need. Come back. That's better. Let's take this and get it in place. And here I'm just trying to make sure that it's pressed down firmly into the recess on the door. And I can see that it's a little bit enthusiastic to curl up at the edges, which I don't want. I'll just take a little drop of naphtha and wipe that excess of adhesive off the surface at that point. I can see a tiny thread of cotton there from the cloth sitting out from the edge. I'll just part that off. That's better. Well, that's a lot better. At least the piece of leatherette's not tucked up round the corner now. And the other side here, this could be more entertaining. I'm going to try and see if I can get it tucked down behind those bosses there on the bottom of the camera. So this one could be a bit more entertaining, try and achieve this. Likewise, this one is curling up around the edges. And I'll use the naphtha again to clean the camera body. Make sure that I've got any loose contaminants off. And start some fresh adhesive. Leatherette is always more of a problem to deal with than leather. Leather is very forgiving and remains fairly robust for decades compared to leatherette. Is it tucked under there? Yes, it is. That will do. Now see if I can get that in position. Got to get it round that button, of course. I really want it tucked down into that recess around here. Is it going to go? Looks like it might. Not quite tucked in down here. Yeah, that's looking quite good. I'm quite pleased with the result I've achieved there. That should be fine. Now I'll just put back that little chrome screw before I lose it and we'll be in business. One chrome screw as requested. And I'll just wipe down some of those edges with a little bit of naphtha here just to make sure that the squeezed out adhesive is gone. That's quite good. It's not tucked down as neatly round that button as I'd like, but it's not bad. But in any event, it's much improved over what it was. Will that leatherette tuck in under there? Well, yeah, it does. Alright, there we have it. That's a bit, it's nice and neat. Leatherettes on the front, of course, are nice and neat. I've got to turn my attention to those ragged bits on the door. Now, unlike the Retinas where they were using leather and it was stretched and completely covered the front, this was a flat panel and it's got cut corners that are just mitered into position. I don't know whether it's going to be worth trying to get this off entirely. It might be easy just to glue back underneath those loose edges, I think. We'll see how it goes. I won't be looking for trouble. I think I've got enough on my plate already without looking for more adventures here. Alright, I'll wipe under that loose edge with naphtha. And I want some adhesive and another toothpick to apply it. As you can probably hear, it's a very blusterous day here today. Let's try that. I think that will do the job. I'd like to say it looks $1 million, but it doesn't. It looks more like $10.50. But it's improved, that's the main thing. The leatherette's not flapping off it, and so it's not likely to get further damaged. And it means that the camera can now slide away into the cupboard until such stage as I have got nothing better to do with my time than clean it and service it and make it all good so that it can go back in the cupboard until some other poor bugger has the job of clearing the estate. Thanks for watching.